Perceptions could change. Opinions can be formed with more and accurate information. Get all sides, views, and opinions on topical issues. Have your say on Perspectives. Perspectives with Twin Alabi at 9 a.m. Mondays to Fridays on Invicta 98.9 FM. Perspectives. All sides, all views, all individuals are welcome.
Good morning and welcome to the program Perspectives. Today on the program Perspectives, we'll be looking at the state of the nation. And the state of the nation, as we all know, is one that Nigerians are just wondering, where are we heading to? And some analysts have said that Nigeria is just at the brink. And a little push could just turn it over. Some people would say the ship of the nation may be heading towards the rock. And of course, other interpretations have been put on the state of the nation. What with insecurity topping the list? What with the seasons of defection that we're having? What with, murder that's turned out to be an everyday occurrence? And today, a newspaper is reporting that over 2,371, citizens have been abducted in Niger, in Zamfara, in Katsina, in 6 months. And in Kaduna too, with a 10 billion naira ransom being demanded. This is how far we've come with Nigeria. And sharing thoughts with me this morning in the studios with me, Barrister Suleiman D. Liri is with me. Barrister Suleiman D. Liri, good morning and glad to have you here.
Thank you. Good morning.
Okay, now, let me just take on, what is topmost on the minds and hearts of Nigeria, and that's about insecurity. And when we talk about insecurity, yes, the killings, Nigeria, the land turned to a killing field. But we ask the question, the insecurity that we see now with, all this Hydra head that he has, how did we get to the point where Nigerians are just not safe in their land?
Mr. Toyo Labi, it's a very long history. But to sum it up, is the failure of the criminal justice system in Nigeria. The courts, the police, the DSS, civil defense, prisons, and other security agencies. The entire system has almost collapsed. The confidence that Nigerians have in that system is no longer there. It's becoming issue of money business. The judiciary has turned into a very big business environment where you take bags of money and you obtain judgment. Very unfortunate. Nobody wants to believe and agree, being in the profession for almost 30 years, for somebody to say that this profession is corrupt. This profession is not delivering. This profession needs to be seriously looked into. And how do you address the issues? The prison is so bad. Now the correctional centers. It was a prison, correctional center, and it is not serving any purpose. There is nothing correctional in the prison. Arrest and detention of citizens in Nigeria without just cause, just for the purposes of extortion, is greater than any other thing that has happened for the past 30 years. Authorities are not addressing it. So, without a political will to rectify the wrongs, then there is no way we can progress. Let me give you hypothetical examples of things that are happening today. If you go this morning to these institutions, this is how they operate. when you go to a court premises, you see it boldly written, bail is free. Just go there. Say you have a relation or a friend or anybody that you feel you need to assist him, that you want to take him on bail. Then you hear the story. When you go to the police station now and complain that somebody has defrauded you of the sum of 1 billion naira, if you are lucky and very sympathetic, you meet very kind officers in the police, they will ask you to give 10%. And those who are so courageous can demand 20% of that 10 billion naira, 1 billion naira extorted from you, or stolen from you, or robbed from you, or fully taken away from you. So, when you have a relation in the facility of the correctional services, you pay 1,500 to 1,000 naira to obtain a form for the visitors to see somebody in the prison. All these things are free. Nobody wants to partake in that. They are all illegalities, but nobody can stop it. And everybody knows that these things are happening. So you must have the political will, one, to agree that these things are happening. Yes, anybody can say, why are you saying this in the media? But you can get hundreds and thousands of people who can testify that they were victims of these offenses. You go to our courts today, you file a case, you obtain judgment, judgment executed, and when it comes to auction, it's sad, very sad. You see a person who was unable to satisfy a debt is being sued in court of law. He could not defend himself. Judgment is delivered against him. For instance, a judgment of 30 million naira. His properties worth 200 million naira were attached. They will be sold or auctioned for 150,000 naira. 60,000 will be declared. 30,000 will be paid to the judgment creditor, and 30 million goes to the court, the beliefs. So where do we start? Arresting people unnecessarily, detaining people beyond the constitutional period without just cause. Nobody asked. Recently, just about 2 weeks ago, a client came to me. Then he was working in a company. Something actually happened. He was working in his office. Some police officers just popped in. They said they've seen police officers. They have come to invite him. He never knew that there was a complaint against him by his organization. They took him. He was detained. The day after, they demanded 200,000 naira for bail. Now, they have to source for 100,000 naira. A lawyer had to negotiate with the police. A lawyer negotiating for that bail. The police knows it is illegal. The lawyer negotiating knows that it's illegal. The person giving the bribe, whatever, knows that it is illegal. And nobody is talking about it. So, there is total failure of the criminal justice system, and also a conspiracy of silence in the part of all of us. What I did was I simply wrote to the commissioner of police. to be frank, I must commend the Commissioner of Police of Kaduna State. But when he sees that, he invited the police who demanded for the bribe. As I'm talking to you this morning, the Commissioner of Police is now assigning to the third team to investigate that issue of 100,000 naira extortion. Because the first team, from their investigation, they wanted to bury the issue. He now appointed another team. Now they wanted also to bury the issue. He now disqualified it and then appointed another team. Let me give another thing. There was a time I had a matter, and I was before the Inspector General of Police then. He invited one Ghana, then the Deputy Inspector General of Police, CID, and told him in my presence, this is a serious matter. Can you source for detectives who will do the thing right? This is an IG saying that to the DC, the Deputy Inspector General of Police in charge of CID, to say that even at that level, if you want the right thing to be done, then you have to be very careful. No, it's not even the Commissioner of Police. It's not even Assistant Inspector General. No, the IG himself and his Deputy Inspector General of Police in charge of CID. So you can see that this is over 10 years ago. So even if they want to do the right thing, they must know whether they have a team who can deliver.
Barrister, you paint a very gory picture of me on this institution, and of course it all entails, the police, the correctional centers, and those that are in charge to carry out, justice for citizens. And of course, in your own parlance, we also do know that justice delayed is justice denied. Now that is happening. Now, how this has led to the insecurity that we're talking about, I just wanted to get, to that point for me.
You see, let me take you back 30 years when I started practice. It is against the Constitution that when there is a complaint against a son who is an adult, that if you did not see him, you go after his father, or you go after his mother, or you go after his friends, or you go after his wife, or you go after any of his friends in order for you to resist him. It is not in our law. But that is what they practice till date. You see people being arrested and detained for the offense not being committed by them at all. It is possible for somebody to be a minister in a government and to have a son, his biological son, who is a thief. He can even be an armed robber. He can be a rapist. But that does not make his father an armed robber or a rapist. The law is very straight. Presumption of innocence in our law is very fundamental. But till date, the security agencies generally in Nigeria are doing it the other way. Once you are invited into a police station or any security agencies, the first duty of the officer is to ensure that your response to the complaint made against you must go in line with the petition that he has received. The literal meaning of the security agencies looking at the Constitution is to ensure that they succeed in every allegation made against them. So, they see you as complainant, as an accused person, as a convict. But now, in the other way, the government promotes it. I asked somebody, what is the problem? Why is it that our constitution is very straight and direct? But when you come to the police stations, when you go to EFCC, when you go to ICP, when you go to all these investigation authority, they always insist on ensuring that their investigation should go in line with the complaint and you must prove it by all means. They said yes. Somebody asked me, answered me, and I agree with him. One, you get promoted as a police officer, as a as EFCC detective, as ICP detective, by the number of convictions you secured. So you secure the conviction by all means. Anytime you say petition, you must make sure you get that person convicted. Now, 2 or 3 ways. Let me give you a scenario. I had a client who was arrested and detained in one of the security agencies for 1 year, 6 months, was never taken to court. You know why? The officer in charge insisted that he will soon be promoted. But he cannot be promoted because he still has some cases that he has to succeed in the prosecution. So he urged him to plead guilty, to admit the crime, so that he will get convicted and the officer will get promoted. But the law says no. If for whatever reason you promise somebody to admit a crime, whatever is the admission or confession is not acceptable in law. But that's exactly what is going on. So they insisted, yes, we have to ensure that we secure conviction because that is what gives us promotion. And it is when we are promoted, then we are being paid more. The more you are ranked, the more your salary and allowances. So it is no longer about fairness. It's no longer about justice. It's no longer about fair hearing. It's no longer about justice. So it's about my promotion and my earning. No more, no less. So this is part of the problem we're having. And is it that those who in authority didn't know what is happening, or they pretend that it is not correct, or that they don't have the political will to correct it? So, you have a case of suspects who were arrested and detained. Their parents came to take them on bail. You detain the parent and you ask them to go and bring money for the release of the children. So long as the practice of, let me say, this issue of kidnapping, to my knowledge, and in line with the provision of the law, we now have official kidnapping and unofficial kidnapping. Official kidnapping in the sense that if a police officer detained you in his facility and demanded that until so amount of money is paid in the name of bail, you will not be released, he's a kidnapper. That's what the law says. The uniform and identity card notwithstanding, the security weapon notwithstanding, because the law says any person. It doesn't say except, or the exception is that somebody who is in uniform or somebody who bears a government identity card. So we have been quiet on the official kidnapping for the past 40 years until such a way that it has reached a level that the unofficial kidnapping has superseded the official kidnapping. Now, Mr. Tony Alabi, take 1 billion naira this morning. Take 1 billion naira cash. You go around facilities of the security agencies in Nigeria. Today, just today, you will have people detained in the cell for beyond constitutional period, in which the security agencies are only waiting for money to release them. The 1 billion naira will finish this morning. Yes, the law says they are available offenses. Yes, they can go on bail. Yes, they have condition, but there is no note on top of that condition. That is money. So there are more people in security agencies' facilities being kidnapped officially, waiting to be paid, than the number of people unofficially being kidnapped in our bushes, waiting to be paid money. The issue is all about money. But let me tell you something. These are practical things that you can change. You can just try it. I'm not praying, because I will not pray something bad for myself. But in the event it happens to me, from my little experience, if my child is abducted or kidnapped and they demand for a ransom of 100 million naira, and I have the 100 million naira to pay, I will not pay the unofficial kidnappers. I will pay the official kidnappers to go after the unofficial kidnappers and get my child for me. It is with my money.
Is that possible?
Yes, it's very possible. Try it, and it will work. It will work. When certain amount of money was offered for Nnamdi Kanu, was he not arrested? Well, do you think that intelligence use was money? Money is money, nothing more money. Tell the official kidnappers to go and arrest the unofficial kidnappers. The 100 million naira is here for them. They will get them.
Barrister, you've given me a picture that, to an extent, I'm just getting like, is this possible? But again, what you're saying, I'm just going to take you on Nnamdi Kanu and Sunday Igboho, and what has been said about them, that if so much of government, money can be put on getting Nnamdi Kanu arrested, there's so much effort that government put. Some people are saying that if so much of it was put on the matters of kidnapping and banditry in Nigeria, we would be saying another story today.
It depends on
That's what you're confirming.
Yes, that is very, very correct. And in addition to that, it's the approach that matters. The circumstances. Because if you arrest a suspect, the essence of investigation is to find out from the suspect the immediate and remote causes of the commission of the crime. You might not want as an investigator to get somebody who is suspected to have committed a crime a leeway, but it is your duty to find out from the history of his birth, his family background, and at what level in his life he found himself into the commission of that crime. Producing a dead body that's a mere suspect of a crime does not make you a good and intelligent detective. What makes you a good and intelligent detective is to be able to apprehend the person alive, interview him, take his history, find out the remote and immediate causes that makes him go into a crime, and the possibility of treating him and bringing him back to society. Don't forget, a criminal is a sick person. He is physically and mentally sick. So when somebody is sick, he needs the attention of a doctor. The doctor has to diagnose his disease, prescribe drugs, get him fit, and return him back to the society. Eliminating human being is not the best, it's not the essence of training of personnel. Nobody is training the policeman to eliminate people. But we have not seen one. Yes, what has makes you go into crime? Let's take a scenario, Mr. Toyin Alabi. You wake up in the morning, you are working, your wife is working, 3 out of 4 of the children you have, they are all working. Unfortunately, you are in a rented house. trying to put up an accommodation somewhere. You lose your job on the same day. You, your wife, your 3 children. And there is only one in school that you have to take. It's in the final year. From 50,000 naira, the school fees increased to 500,000 naira. And all of you lost your jobs. You are thinking of paying your rent. You are thinking of how to put up the accommodation now because you want to own your own house. You are getting older and older. You want to pay the school fees. You want to eat, but you don't have a job. None of you have a job. So if you or any member of your family goes into crime, does he have not history to tell? And what is the cost of it? But until when we have sensible governments, we have people who have political mind. We have people who are willing to address our issues. Eliminating people is not just enough. Anybody can wake up and say, look, I want to be a free man. And I want my people to be free. I'm not born slave. And no coincidence will make me find myself as a slave and will remain. Because if I die a slave, the entire of my family will die slaves. So I have to get emancipated. Because if I did not, my children would fight for it. So, this scenario is very important, and we put a report to the government to address their issues. That we are not doing. Mr. Tony Alabi, the law says, that is why the law says, if a person commits a crime, say financial crime, arrested, investigated, arraigned before a court of law, convicted and sentenced, or sentenced and convicted, serve a period of time, return to the society, within the period of 10 years, he can aspire to be a president of Nigeria. But when you say the man is corrupt and you eliminate him, he doesn't have another future. And why are you saying now we don't have a prison, we have correctional centers? It means the government also admits that it is not every person who is a suspect that is a born criminal. The language they always call is security agencies. Anytime they say, this man is a born criminal. But the law doesn't say that. We don't have that in our laws. Everybody can be corrected, no matter the age, no matter the circumstances. You need to read psychologists of the people who goes into crime. That is why the judge is given a leverage after reading the case diary of a suspect to form an opinion whether the sentence of 10 years from the history or the historical background of the crime, the history and the source of that, a number of, given a parameter of the number of years that the person can serve in a correctional center. That is why the law provides that it is a duty of the staff of the correctional centers to observe those who are in their facilities, to be able to recommend to the government that certain categories of persons in the facilities has reformed and can be taken back to the society as good human beings. For instance, you have a young man of 19 years who has committed a crime, sentenced and convicted for a period of 15 years in the prison or in the correctional center. Now that the government has given an opportunity for him, he has finished his GCE, he read first degree, second degree. By the time he is 10 years in the prison, already he obtained a PhD in any other field. He will not be allowed to remain to stay in the correctional center for the rest of his life, or even for the 15 years. So they can now advise the government that this person who have come with social history, he has completely changed and he's reformed, and he is fit to go back to the society. And they will recommend to the governor or the president, and the president will allow him. Take away that 5 years. Say, well, look, Now that you are a good man, come back to the society, continue with their life. And from what we have assessed, you can be a director general in one of the federal ministry. Give him an appointment, allow him to do the work. That is the whole essence. But these things is completely defeated. So until and unless we go back to our laws, unfortunately, my little experience shows that most of those people in government, either civil servant, public servant, whatever you call them, political appointees, they have no business with our laws. Whatever they are comfortable with, they direct whoever is in charge of that, especially the professionals, to do in line with their wishes. If you find yourself to be a journalist in the midst of a government, they will make you commit any crime in line to cover up with that your profession towards their desire and what they want. So if you are a lawyer, it's the same thing. If you are a medical doctor, it's the same thing. A politician will prescribe, diagnose disease and give prescribe drugs. Diagnose disease, prescribe drugs, and ask the doctor to sign. And because he's the profession, he knows he cannot do that. So this is exactly what we're having. But where are we in our profession? You are a journalist. Don't you have ethics? Yes, you do. Go in line with your ethics. No matter wherever you belong to. You are a lawyer. As a lawyer, I have my ethics. Let me keep my ethics. Anywhere I go, whether in the government or anywhere, I know my ethics and I go in line with my ethics. So also doctors. So, but lacking of this political will of people to do the right thing is always keeping us in trouble, and it's unfortunate.
The program is Perspectives, and it's coming to you on Invicta 98.9. And we're just looking at state of the nation. And this time, our focus is on the judiciary and how much it has done, in helping in the democratic process that we have. Barrister Suleiman D. Leary, lawyer, and of course, public analyst too, sharing thoughts with us about how we found ourselves in this state of security. We'll come back after this commercial break. Come back. Here's the program Perspective this morning, and coming to you on Invicta 98.9. And we're looking at the state of the nation, insecurity coming on top of it all now, and of course, how we've gotten ourselves where we are today. Barrister Suleiman D. Leary sharing thoughts with us now. Barrister, this in the lifespan of this nation, so many administrations have been witnessed, from military to civilian, and so we're going on with it. But let me particularly come to this, to this government, the government of the APC, before it got itself, in this administration. Promises were made to Nigerians that the anomalies that we see and all the defects and all the things that are seen to be wrong with Nigeria would be addressed. And that's coming from insecurity to corruption, to the judiciary, cleaning up the stable, and all of that were promised the people. And so, the people came forward on all these promises, that some people are saying is just giving us El Dorado while it's not there. But from what we were seeing, with what's coming up from the judiciary, from the insecurity we're seeing, and all that has been promised Nigerians about it, how far would you say that this government has been on top of it?
I think the people in government have already answered this question. I always quote the senior special advisor, security advisor to the president. As mentioned severally, and I think till date the situation is still the same, that one of the major problem of the security is that the president, by our constitution, is the president, commander-in-chief of the armed forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. That is to say, the army, including the military, air force, navy, the Nigerian police, the correctional centers, the civil defense, the DSS, and all other security agencies are directly answerable to the president. Now, problem is, till date, till today as I'm talking to you, Mr. President has not confirmed to Nigerians that now the entire security apparatus in Nigeria are harmonized and that they can work together and that they have a good understanding of each other, and also appreciate the fact that all of them take instruction from Mr. President, and that by the provision of the law and by the judgment of series of judgment of the Supreme Court, the entire security apparatus in Nigeria can work harmoniously and with the participation of each and every one of them coming together. For instance, if you cite a police officer trying to arrest suspect, and the suspect is attempting to overpower the police, it is the duty of a person who is in a military uniform, the army, the custom, the immigration, and all those, to come around to assist the member of the Nigerian police to ensure that he executed his duties. So the law says very clear, and the Supreme Court is very, very clear on this, that if a custom officer is exercising his duties, it is the duty of the entire security apparatus to rally around the custom officer to ensure that he discharges his own responsibility.
We're not saying this?
Of course we are not. Even the security advisor is complaining of that. He said that no, the chief of army staff, you see him with his file, going to see the president. Chief of Navy staff, you see him with his file, going to see the president. Inspector General of Police, you see him with his file. Chairman of EFCC, coming with his file. So it's like they are all supposed to be answerable to the commander-in-chief, but they are operating independently. And they are not cooperating with each other. We always see it even on the streets. You see a policeman fighting with a military man in uniform, carrying weapons, fighting themselves on the street of Nigeria. And no any report of discipline of such officers. It means they are not together. We are finding it difficult for the police, the army, the air force, the immigration, and everybody. Because if a military man said, we have confronted bandits or Boko Haram or any set of people that you attach them to criminality, and he said they are not Nigerians, so who are they? Because in the operation there are no immigration officers. It is only an immigration officer that can tell you that this man is not a Nigerian and he belongs to some country. It is not the duty of a Navy officer. It's not that of a DSS. So, if you always have, there are certain operations that you have to go in, the combined operations.
Have to be on the battlefield.
It has to be on the battlefield. Because a policeman can not say this one is a Ghanaian, because he is not trained to know who is a Ghanaian and who is a Sierra Leonean, or who is a Nigerian. He is trained to on just the crime, or the crime that the person had a tendency, and that is why also we have what do you call them now the police, that the Interpol. This Interpol, their training is that from the crime they can be able to say this nature of a crime is normally being committed by Serranians or Sierra Leones, people from Sierra Leone. What do you call them?
Sierra Leoneans.
Sierra Leoneans, or they are Ghanaians. Because because these are crime committed in social country. But the person who is trained as a policeman, 30 years working in Regasa, you say you have never even seen a Ghanaian? But you said no, this man is a Ghanaian. No, he does not have the qualification to say that. The law does not allow him. If you go on operations, you said yes. This the people I complain of have come to this country with contraband, and this one is a DLEA man saying it. Are you trained to know contraband? It is not until if you are trained as a custom officer. So you see a policeman, by virtue of his uniform, he is a military man. He shows force wherever he is. He is a traffic man. He is a custom officer. He is an immigration officer. He is DSS. At times he said he is even EFCC. He is ICPC. So confusing that even they themselves didn't know that there is purpose for the various training that they are receiving, and that there are certain places that they will have to, all of them have to work in a place harmoniously to give input to what is happening. Sit down together, look at the country, the way forward. How do you address this issue? Because now a military man said no, they are not Nigerians. So you did not contact the immigration to tell you.
Consider this as failure of leadership?
Of course it is. Of course it is. If you are commander-in-chief of the armed forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, do the governors have control over custom? Do they have control over correctional centers? Do governors have control over civil what do you call it? Civil defense? They don't. That is the whole essence of having a commander-in-chief. So that in certain operation you direct that the entire security apparatus have to work together. But they are operating independently. We always hear that certain amounts of money is being allocated to the military. Are the military, by virtue of their training and the law, supposed to be in charge of the internal affairs of the country? The answer is no. But you see the president allocating money. You see the National Assembly approving money for the military. To do what? In internal security? No. Not our laws. And nobody can question that. Mr. President need to know that issue of internal security is the priority of the police. The Chief of Army Staff in this respect have to bow to the Inspector General of Police to direct. He can lead a team if he is assigned by the Inspector General of Police for the assignment. Internal security is for the Nigerian police, because the law says it is the Nigerian police that have the power over the entire internal security of Nigeria to exercise all powers, and indeed to even exercise some powers of the military to certain extent, until such a time when they can no longer, or that they needed, until when the police needed the contributions or needed some input of the military, they will have to request for it. But we are seeing now it is the military that are in the forefront. But we have witnessed a situation whereby a army general was kidnapped. It was the police that discovered him. But the military has to now go to the police to discover an army general who was captured. So, if you take the responsibility, that is what is bringing problem. If you take the responsibility of the police and give it to the military, they cannot, because they don't have the training.
Let me take this to the public domain and get your thoughts on matter subject of discussion this morning, and that's talking about where we are with the state of the nation. Numbers to call to be part of it: 081 40,000 989, 081 40,000 989, or 070 87 800 989, 070 87 800 989. Your calls. Hello. Good morning.
Good morning, Salary.
Yes.
Yeah, Usman on the line from Umazu.
The name again?
Usman Isa Bilal from Ngoma.
Okay, I got you now. Usman Bilal. Yes.
All right. Let me talk about this judiciary. We're talking now.
Quickly, sorry, we have to move on very fast.
Okay. Actually, to me, it's a shame for Nigeria, because if the judiciary will have stepped up, all this what we are seeing now today will not be here today. Even all this kidnapping and Boko Haram and other issues, it's just the judiciary. They will have been the key factor to stop all this mess in this country. Because there are some things they're supposed to take action, prosecute some other people. They fail to prosecute. How many people to be indicted or even taken to court for prosecution? The judiciary fail. And in fact, they accept people like, for example, Usman will bring 80 in the court. And if I have the brown envelope, I will go in the street of Nigeria. So the judiciary is the core problem of this country, Mr. Alabi, I will tell you.
Okay, Usman, we got you on that.
Military also, we have the immigration in Maiduguri. We should not forget about that. For me, I saw them with my naked eyes. They are fighting alongside with the military in Maiduguri.
Thank you, Usman. Okay, we got you on that. Still with your calls. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning.
And good morning to our guest. My name is Comrade Gabriel, Texas man.
Let's hear you.
In fact, your man has spoken directly what actually happened to us. Because on the 24th of January 2020, in fact, we petitioned the EFCC because, Minister Jonathan was about leaving in 2014. He made a vote of an act to release 100 billion naira to revive all these tax. So when I took our application to the EFCC, they were asking us to go and find out whether those companies actually collected this money. I said, is it our responsibility? We want to bring the petition to you. If you find out it is correct, then you carry on it. If it is not correct, you leave it. Say we cannot be able to do well, and they have been on that issue up to today, and nobody didn't say anything. Because the intent of that government at that time was to make sure that most of this industry did not close. So your man has said the minds of Nigeria is perfectly correct.
Okay.
Today, like this agency, for example, sir, you see that sometimes you hear some people have been released, some people have not been released. So what actually is happening in the bush? Are these people really kidnappers or arrange kidnapping?
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay. One more, and then we come back to our guest. Hello. Good morning.
Hello. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Our guest. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for coming and stand to talk the truth. To
the name, please.
I see Madu calling from Idi Musa Mondo, please.
Modu, I am Modu, right?
I see Madu.
Okay, let's hear you. Quickly, too.
It's truth that our guest has spoken. There's nothing that we are calling unity in our armed forces. The division and everything bring the problem of this country. If the government will do the needful and listen to our guests and make sure that all the purchase of arms are directed to the right appropriate people, I think we will curtail the insecurity. But if not, we will go back the same thing, spending money for nothing. Thank you, Mr.
Modu, thank you on that. Okay, and we'll come back to you, Barrister Suleiman. Well, your last line too, and your thoughts on what the callers, have put across.
We just have to go by our laws. It is laws, it's not us. So you don't try the law the way your own way, but go the way the law is. And that is exactly what we are lacking. And the political will to ensure that we do what is right. Maybe in just 1 minute, we are having crisis of defection and what have you. Section 109 is very clear. And what are we talking about? Once you are sponsored by a political party, you get into a seat. If you are leaving that political party, you must leave that seat. That is the position of the law. So what is politics in it? Why the noise is it? Why do you have to wait until when the court make a declaration? So if the citizens know that, they should be able to confront you. If you go into any seat under a political party, and you choose to leave the political party, then you must leave the seat for them.
So it is wrong with what Bill Matawale is doing now. And
perfectly wrong. We were waiting for the court to make a declaration.
Okay. And that would just be about the size of it on Perspectives this morning. Barrister Suleiman D. Liri, thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you for the opportunity.
And I would ask too that in a very short while too, I'd like to bring you back to the studios. Issues to discuss here. We've not completed on some of the issues raised.
You are most welcome.
Thank you very much. Perspectives today with Barrister D. Leary. And I'd like to thank my colleague Job for connecting with the people. Wisdom, thank you for putting us in the pictures. And Joy, thank you for being part of it. Perspectives will come tomorrow. Good morning.